Okay, let's see how we do. I don't want to more things going wrong now. Thank the maker for that. Alright, welcome to this very impromptu stream. Intentional stream tomorrow, but I incidentally found that I was going to stream now instead. So yeah, that's the thing that happens. Now, some of you might wonder, what are we doing here? Well, we're going to build a very tiny little gas station. I'm going to try building a tiny gas station at least. You might wonder, why are we going to build a tiny little gas station? Well, because Battletech are in a scale called Z, for those doing model railwaying, and that's a very tiny scale. So yeah, we are basically going to make our own little gas station. And some of you might not know, actually most of you won't know, but I've actually at one point in my life learned how to make models from scratch, which is a not particularly useful skill to have, but it's a skill nonetheless. And that cannot be right. No. See? That's right. It's very dirty paper. Just run so a bit cleaner of a surface to work with. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to make a little template, and then we're going to turn that little template into a actual gas station. At least the main building a gas station. I'm going to see if we got the skill right before we start doing bigger projects or ordering things that actually cost money. Because believe it or not, I'm not a big fan of spending money wantonly. That's a bit too far, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. Because see, one of the main problems with this is, of course, that as it sits, I really like to make this difficult for myself, didn't I? But yes, direct this remark over there so we don't have to do the annoying thing of having bloody quarter of an inch sitting around doing nothing. So it doesn't really matter per se the size of the building as such, because, well, no, this of course isn't. It's not perfect. This doesn't really have to be perfect either, because we are. Okay, that was a bit too off. That should be about 7, and that is definitely not 7. See, that is why you mark twice before you draw the line. That's where I draw the line. So, and what do I agree on this being? 13.5. And 4 inches, 4 centimeters tall, not inches, 4 centimeters tall. Yeah. Anyway, it's a very tiny little scale. And that is. Why do I keep doing that? Believe it or not, I'm a semi-professional. I'm not actually, but no. Yeah, it is what it is. So, it's close enough at least. Now, why am I doing this? Well, because for what it's worth, I actually prefer to have an idea of what I'm doing before I do it. So trying to do a little test fit of this first before I commit to things. So I only have a limited amount of materials to. Also, I simply need a new blade for this one. That's a later issue. Yeah, now the burr. Yeah, this is why I like having a cutting mat actually. And then I got a cutting mat. So I could do cutting things. Because cutting things are important when you try to make models. Let me cut a bit uneven there. This one is cut. Usually it's at measure once, cut, must measure twice, cut once. In this case, it's like barely measure at all, and just widely cut. But it works out pretty okay in the end. It's also from some of my really nice paint artist paper, but it works surprisingly well as for model mock-ups too, because it's a bit stiffer. A bit more unyielding, and that is good. Because that is what it is. That could have gone better. Well, that wasn't entirely horrible either. So, I wish I had some tape laying around. I do have somewhere, but I'm not really sure where it is. There it is. Found it. Never mind. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. One of the succinct advantages of living with someone who runs a store is that there's always at least these sort of things laying around. Giving good access to these sort of things. Come on. As I said, this is just going to mock up, so there's not really that much need to be precise at this stage. I mean, it's good to be precise, but it's not like life or death if you're precise or not. Now we're going to do this. We're going to place this on handy dandy cutting mat, and we're going to mark off where the front of that thing was going to be. Again, just to get a sense for how things go. And that's where freehand artistry comes in handy. Well, at least some sort of artistry. But I was going to use this actually. It was nice, good size. It's the same size on both sides. This we always measure just to be on the safe side. 2 and almost a half. 2 and almost a half. Close enough. Close enough. For just a second, I was like, should I have cutting on a cutting mat? Like, it's a cutting mat. It was designed for. It'd be stupid not use it. And scratch up my poor desk even more. Not that this desk is particularly alive anyway, but you know, it's a thing. But look at that. It stands to reason. Oh well, something at least. Yes, it's not a perfect match, but it is close enough. And see, here's the reason why it's crooked, it's because this thing got crooked. It got crooked. Let's see if we can uncrook that a bit. So, decent. Decent enough. Right. So, I'm going to bring in our mech stand E. Yeah. It's not entirely bad, actually. The door could be a bit, the central building could be a bit shorter, but it's not entirely bad. Now, of course, we have a lot of plastic card for this. So we can show like this. You can see it's almost a good size. And that's kind of fun, actually. Now, if we were making this out of plastic card, we would of course use reinforcement in the corners, but since this is not that, and I do not have the energy to actually make reinforcements on this mock-up. Right, so this then should be 7 by 12, 7 by 13 and a half. I mean, 7 by 13 and a half. 7 by 13 and a half. Pencil. We should add a little bit onto that. So basically it's this. Should be this. Now this is not going to be a good fit per se, but we need to have some angle on the sides of it. Why? Well, because we do. So we can attach it properly. I wish we could call that a proper solid cut, but it wasn't really. So, but yeah, so if we find the middle of this, the middle. What is the middle, you ask? Well, the middle is the middle. Why the middle? Well, because we're going to do silly things to it. And of course, if we didn't do this easy for ourselves, because middle is there about. And you actually do 2 more of these, you get a decent idea of where the line is, because if you don't, you're going to mess up, and all of a sudden your middle is going to be nowhere near where it's supposed to be. So, let me measure. About 6.5. Don't measure. It's not middle. But it doesn't matter because we are not going to be using the entire thing anyway. We came to the conclusion that this wall was about 7. So we need about 3.5. Let's say 4 there. So we mark 4 there. Let me mark the 4 there. This is a very roundabout way of doing things. And then we mark the 3.5. I should probably make it. How much? Maybe a bit more, so probably actually make it there instead. 4.5. Better. What I'm doing right now will make sense in a little while, even if it doesn't right now. Let's see if we can line this up. Like that, like so, and like so. Again, roughly correct. And yeah, no, you should not be using roughly correct as a measurement, but we do that today because we're in that kind of mood where we measure roughly. Close enough. So what are we doing now? Well, we're going to cut the outer white bits off. We don't need those. I don't mean that as we don't need those. And no, I wouldn't recommend anyone freehand cutting like this. This is a stupid way of doing it. There are much better ways to do this. There are proper ways to do it. Now we're going to actually score this. Now this is where it can get interesting. So now we're going to do what we just did, but not cutting all the way through instead. It's called scoring. It makes the paper a lot more compliant to whatever weird ideas you're having. Like so. And like so. Now if you want to get really fancy, you could have done this on all sides, but let's not get all fancy on it, shall we? So yeah, model building 101. Congratulations, you made a house. Not much more to say about it. That's a house. Doesn't take more than that. Ah! Of course, this needs reinforcing for pretty much every angle. But yeah. It holds an atlas. I think that is all it needs right now. Not being entirely serious, I also have some wood glue. Ah! I have some wood glue. I think it's less usable. I also had a glue stick somewhere, but that's lost a long time ago. Anyway. No clue if this is actually usable in any way, shape, or form. Doing the old paperclip trick. Well, there's some sort of paste in there still place, so that's something. Oh yep, we got paste. We got paste. Alright. Shouldn't underestimate paste. Oh, this smells so bad. This kind of wood glue smells bad. Not in a good way. I mean, sometimes it's like, oh, that smells so bad, but you still kinda sorta like it. This is not one of those smells. This just smells bad. So. As I said, this is not particularly fancy yet, because this is just a little house. But the idea is just test to see if it's a good scale for some mechs. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you're just quickly making terrain, this is all you need actually. Fairly stiff paper, which even if you buy them like I do, for artist purposes, you can get a pad for like 150, 200 crowns, $15, $20. I mean, it's not much. It's fun. And then just decorate it, because I mean, this is mostly done actually. But I mean, of course, it's not just that. We are going to use this plastic card and construction foam for the real project. As I said, this is a scale test, because you need scale tests. If you just start doing things willy-nilly, you waste materials for nothing sometimes. And that's the way it is. That is thoroughly the way it is. Now, one thing I'm curious about though, to look at a little house here. You will need some weights put on you. I think I have, for this paper you can actually use magnets. Now, if I want to just finish up this thing, I could do that too. Actually, it's not good, but it's, you can set fire to this. I'm not saying you should set fire to it, but you could. I should also get some plastic, some like sheet plastic to put in front of like windows and stuff, because I don't have that. We do not have that. I could actually turn these blind boxes into a nice house. It says houses. That would be kind of fun. But yeah, basically the idea is to take some craft foam, create a base for it, and then build up what is essentially the rest of the gas station. I was looking at this. These square pillars I think actually make again good size for mechs. And I-beams. The tiny I-beams makes for good I-beams for mechs. Yeah, this is an example. Greens of Worlds, the art of converting. It's a sampler pack of their profile products, the plastic profiles. So that's kind of fun. Yeah. I actually don't have them. I didn't think this was going to go this well. Because I mean, it's years since I actually modeled it last time. Like this. But I mean, this is a house. You need to be decorated. But it is, for all intents and purposes, a house. It's pretty cool. I mean, we could just for fun of it. Let's see, do we have a bit less long enough? Yes, that one. I think I have, or somewhere have a paper cutter. But let's try something else for fun of it. Just for the fun of it. Let's score this a bit. Can you actually see what I'm doing? Barely. Basically, what we're doing is scoring it with the knife. Because I just had an idea. Whatever the idea was, I screwed up. Well, forget that then. We switch sides. So I think I have another one. Yes. Well then, let's try it again, but without screwing it up this time. So this is an interesting scale to be working, as I noted before. Because everything is very tiny. It's like, the Z scale is like 6mm scale, roughly speaking. Not exactly, but close enough. Right, so what I've done now is basically score this a lot. So when I put this on here, it looks like paneling. See how wide this is. Just a little bit over 2 centimeters. I put this exactly at 2, and that should work for this. These papers are tougher than I give it credit for. A lot tougher than I give it credit for. I do need 2, I think. 2 pieces. So when you take this and you do this, apply a little bit of glue, then you slide your paneling on like so. You put it upside down and put some pressure onto it. And then you adjust it because things moved a bit. Bam. And there was a little bit left down there that was untrimmed. Turns out the paper was uncut. One should not joke about mail. Child molestation. I always wondered that. Why is that okay? The foreskin thing. Why is that okay? Who knows? Shouldn't be. It's not like the kids have anything to say in the defense because they're too young to even understand what's going on. Still done. Weird thing. Measure again. It's also a bit over 2. It's very interesting, to be honest. But yeah, so pretty much what we can do now is make some simple panelings. It's fun. Maybe I should do one of these low budget building terrain things. I don't know. Would that be fun? Would anyone actually watch that? I have no idea. Actually, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Time will tell. Maybe I should try that. Maybe we leave that up to streams to begin with, because streams aren't doing particularly well anyway, because we haven't gotten started yet properly. But yeah, you should probably need to put something over that, because that didn't do particularly well. And you just do that all the way around. And you can just put one of these bits in like this, and you have a sign. Like that. Ta-da! Now, we have a house. And let's see, where do we have my elementals? I have a base of elementals somewhere. Yeah, here you go. I mean, these aren't really a good scale either. But yeah. I think this should down a little bit more. I think I made the opening a bit too big. Even for a store. If we look at this, there's supposed to be 2 meters, 2 meters tall-ish. So it should be like 4. It's not exactly working to scale either. I think the elementals are a bit too little, a bit too tiny, but also a bit too big. It's weird at the same time. But yeah. Still, you can hide elementals in the building. You could also theoretically hide a small mech inside a building, but that's a different story. Should we try and build this just for fun of it? We should. Not with that though. We're gonna use this. Non-oil. Let's see what it does to it. Just for the fun of it. I mean, what we're doing now is basically destroying it. But we're also putting a lot of cipher dystopia onto it. I mean, if this doesn't just scream quick and dirty, the emphasis on the dirty, I don't know what does. But you know, it is what it is. I have no idea who's watching this. I hope you're enjoying it. Or if you're a bot. If you're a bot, that's okay too, but I hope you're a real person who's actually for some odd reason enjoying me mucking about and making a really weird little gas station. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's a lot smaller than a lot of other buildings I have. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that, actually. That's a weird one. An old little building made from paper, but the idea is correct. Ish. This could, with some modifications, actually look like a store or a garage or something. You can imagine the cars driving in and out there. It's big enough, at least, and that's what's important bit. Because I was like, because I want to build a city board. And how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to find a nice bit of city somewhere on Google Maps, and we're going to just lift the buildings from it. That'd be interesting. Very interesting, actually. Would that be? Alright, so this one more like testing how things would look if I was doing this, if it's viewable. So if you watch this, I'm thankful, and you're welcome back tomorrow when we'll be painting a mech. A very big mech. We are gonna wrap up the painting on this fella tomorrow. So you're welcome back then. So, until next time, stay safe, be kind, and do play fair. Bye.